Welcome to today's episode of the Group Therapy Podcast. Today we have Sarah Webb. She is a horror host, a musician, and so much more. Sarah, tell us about yourself.
Hello there. Yeah, just like you said, I'm a horror host, and my horror host character's name is Scara, Damsel of the Doomed. In the band The Immortalz. We're a pop punk rock and roll horror themed band. I lead a band of vampires, and that's super fun. I wrote a movie called Damsel of the Doomed. It's about my character, and I star in it. That one's out in um, film festivals right now. And I work behind the camera as well as an assistant director for Horror Web Productions. And I was the assistant director on a movie called The Black Quarry, which is available for streaming right now.
So very busy there.
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
You're like me. You're one of the people that's got to stay busy all the time.
Oh, yeah, it's
So
definitely better that way.
mine is that I tend to do stupid stuff when I'm not busy. So
Yeah.
so how did you get started in the horror host game, I guess?
So it started back at the end of 2018, beginning of 2019. I was introduced to somebody who was going to start a Halloween theme park here in Austin, Texas, where I live. And he had initially, his name's Corey Trahan, and he initially wanted me to do makeup for his park. I do a little bit of spooky makeup. I'm not as talented in that as his makeup artists that has now, but I thought, well, I could learn to get better at the craft. And so I signed on with him to do makeup, but the park, it wasn't built yet. He was just kind of getting all of his ducks in a row in advance. So before it was built, he is another person like you and I who needs to stay busy. And we kind of collectively, him and myself and a guy named Donnie Kavanaugh, a guy named John Bach, and then eventually Kayla Stojek, we decided to form Horror Web, which is became a film production company. But at the time, we're doing some YouTube stuff. And I was going to do like a makeup YouTube for his channel, or for the Horror Web channel, our channel. But I ended up doing interviews of people in the horror community here in Central Texas. And for that, I decided to kind of adopt a character to do it. And that's how Scara was born, was through those interviews. And then that led to me interviewing a guy named Mitch for Gore Noir magazine. And he had asked me if I would help him host some stuff for his magazine. And so I started hosting Gore Noir events and interview panels at Cult Classic Convention. And it just, one thing led to another. It was a year or two where I decided to not say no to anything. I was kind of coming out of my shell at the time, and I wanted to say yes. So I just said yes to most opportunities that came by, and the character developed. And it can go on and on, but as far as what happened next, but I'll probably let's see what you have for me on deck as far as questions go, or I'll just ramble, Paul.
Oh, it's fine. I ramble a lot. So I'm gonna lie. I was sitting on I looked at your Instagram page, and for some reason my brain, because it's Scara's Scream Theater,
Right.
and my brain wants to go Scara's Scream House, like
Ah,
Barbie's Dream House. And I went,
that sounds like a future project.
there we go. Your next
Like,
movie. There we go.
yeah, that's not bad.
But I know that's bad because that's what my brain tries to do. It tries to be like, that's going to be a play on words, right? And then it's like, no, it's just Scream Theater. It's what it's supposed to be.
I'm telling you, I like Scara's Scream House. Now, out at Bat City Scaregrounds, that's the horror theme park, the Halloween and horror theme park that I work at now.
Mhm.
In October, I'm the park host, and there's 3 haunted attractions, and and they flip occasionally.
Yeah,
One will become something else. So I might like recommend to the owner that he makes Scara's Scream House out there.
there we go.
A whole haunt, for a
Tasty.
little old me. That would be
There you
great.
go. So you became a horror host, and you're also a musician. Which came first, the horror host, or the musician?
Horror hosting, I guess, in a way, I mean, I've always enjoyed singing, but I've always loved Halloween and horror too. I think my first love was probably Halloween and horror. And then I grew up kind of singing, but never in a band. I didn't The Immortals started in 2020. And prior to that, I was never in a band. I would just play guitar at my house and sing, or I went to a few open jams here and there, but we decided to form the Immortals during the pandemic. It was a nice little pandemic project that took off. And so yeah, that came second.
That is a super common trait on a lot of people that I've talked to, whether it's been musicians. They're like, "Oh, so we're bored during the pandemic, and
Yeah.
then we decided to form a band."
Yeah. The pandemic, there's definitely some beneficial aspects to it.
Oh yeah,
You know, it was
that's why.
terrible for a lot of things, but it forced a lot of creativity out of folks.
Oh, 100%. That's why I brought back. I had been I'm old school. My first show was why it's called group therapy was it was a public access television show.
Oh, cool.
I did that for about 18 months, and then tried to keep bringing it back. And during the pandemic, I'm just literally bored at my house. So all I'm doing is exercising, watching TV, and that's it, and reading.
Mm.
And my kids are getting bored. So finally, I'm like, fine, I'm gonna bring this all back. And I did this, and that's mine spawned out of this pandemic too.
Oh, nice. Good.
So
I miss
um,
the old public access shows. I know they're still out there. I just don't have the means to watch them, I don't think anymore, but I miss those.
so many public access channels are just long gone because those cable companies just don't carry them anymore. Because now everybody's like me. I took all that stuff that I've ever done. Well, I wish I need to go back and find all the old footage of the TV show and then bring it to, you know,
Yeah,
the YouTube. And
definitely.
yeah, so it's YouTube is both my friend and my enemy depending on which day it is.
YouTube's weird.
Oh yeah,
We just
it's
released our music video and we're getting the most hits on it on Facebook. Actually, like we have over 6,000 views now, I think, on it on Facebook, but on YouTube, it's not, it's not bad, but it's not doing nearly as well. It's just interesting.
oh
YouTube
yeah.
used to be pretty powerful, but I don't know if that's the case anymore.
Well, so many people now use, Facebook Reels and do this and do that, and they get it out there. And now, with like me, I watch an episode go way up, and then the next episode will be just like, what did I do different? I don't understand.
Yeah.
And then, have you ever got in trouble for playing your own music because it brings up the copyright?
Yeah, on the Facebook one, I had to go back and forth with them a few times because they're claiming copyright, and I was like, I own the copyright. Like my band is the copyright. Get out of here.
Oh yeah. So it's really cool to see people like you're did makeup, you work in a haunt, you're a horror hostess, you're a musician, and I gotta ask, day job on top of all this?
I actually do have a day job. It's not full time,
Okay, okay,
and it's getting where it's harder and harder to kind of handle both. I don't want to say too much about the day job, but I will
yeah,
say I went to the University of Texas and I have a master's in communication science disorders, uh, and which is speech language pathology was my route that I took with that. So I'm a speech language pathologist, but I can't really say exactly where I work or
no, no,
relation. But yeah, I do that a little bit.
yeah.
And I was doing that for years before I made the switch over to this kind of stuff. I
Oh,
like,
okay. So I have a big question. What
yeah.
entails a speech pathologist?
Oh, what entails?
Yeah.
Um, it is uh, somebody who works with a population. You can either work with pediatrics or adults, and it's a broad spectrum. I specialize in a population that has neurological conditions, both acquired or born with.
Okay.
things like muscular dystrophy or autism or other genetic disorders that impact somebody's ability to communicate clearly, including everything from speech sounds
Okay.
to language disorders to even social pragmatics, like knowing how to socially communicate, and to executive functioning skills, which is kind of how your brain processes everything. That incorporates memory and
Okay.
uh, all sorts of abilities. So you really have to know a lot about how the brain works, how language processes
Wow.
in the brain, different conditions that can affect that, and how and what how to treat them, and the musculature and nerves and all of the articulators for speech and language. So
Wow.
it's a
Because
lot.
wow, because it's I have a brother-in-law that has severe autism. I have my son who has mild autism. My brother-in-law nonverbal, so
So
I deal with it. My
you get,
son, he doesn't have it as much as he used to, but when he's little, he was really bad with echolalia. So
yeah. I was talking
and
about that the other day. How
yeah,
funny.
and it's so funny because I mean, you're talking about this. I'm like, I kind of know some of this stuff because of
You do.
my brother-in-law. So
Yeah.
yeah,
A lot of people, autism is so prevalent now. It's always kind of been, there's always been autism,
yeah,
but it's much more prevalent now. And I think that's for a few reasons. I think one is people are more aware of it, and so it's becoming diagnosed
yeah.
more. It used to be something that only severe cases were being diagnosed.
Hmm.
So people on the lower end of the spectrum were kind of pushed to the side or left off,
Yep.
and now they're being incorporated more. But I also think there might be something going on that is causing more autism, and that's, that's interesting, and there's a lot of study in that realm. But
Yeah.
it's yeah, I think everybody now probably knows somebody
Yep.
with autism.
Oh yeah. Well, it's the whole the Pluto thing. It says, well, autism didn't come around till like 1920s. I'm like, no, it's like Pluto. We didn't discover Pluto till like 1929, but I'm pretty sure it was there the entire time.
That's a great analogy. I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to steal that. Yeah, it's perfect. Just because we didn't know it doesn't mean it wasn't there,
Yep.
right?
Yeah. And but you are doing some amazing stuff. I see your like your Instagram. You're out there. You're doing these shows. You're out there being a host. You're being doing stuff for conventions. You're doing band stuff. Um, do you ever get like I've accidentally double booked myself? Do you ever double book yourself doing stuff?
Yeah, sometimes I started doing these murder mysteries, and when I first started the murder mysteries, it was supposed to be a quarterly event,
Yeah.
and they became popular, which was wonderful. And it's popular, interestingly enough, with a different crowd. It's not the typical horror crowd. It's more, for lack of a better word, normal folks, just your
Mhm.
typical people. They like dressing up too, and, having fun. So they became popular, and they increased the frequency of those. Now I do them once a month, and they would like me to do them more, but I just can't. But those, I had to be super careful with them because I definitely accidentally overbooked, had one of those with something else go on a few times, or vice versa. Um, and then there was other times where I didn't double book or overbook, but I would, when we were filming Damsel of the Doomed, I remember there was one weekend in particular where I had to host a horror convention. I had to film at the horror convention for the movie. We also had a show for my band, The Immortalz, right before. And the weekend before that, I was hosting Nosferatu Festival, and I lost my voice. So when
Oh,
it
geez.
time to film the next weekend for the movie, another scene, and you can kind of hear it in the movie. I was definitely hoarse, and there's a part in the movie where my voice doesn't sound like it does the rest of the time. There's nothing to do. Every like time we cut, the AD was running up and giving me a lozenge and helping me out, but and I was so exhausted. So I try to not do that anymore, but I really didn't have much of a choice at the time.
So wow. That's I've done shows where I've just been sick as a dog,
Yeah.
and You're just like power through it, power through it. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
We'll be fine. And people are
Yeah.
like, I didn't know you were sick. I'm like, I don't know how you did not know. I was like feeling it the entire episode.
Are you a musician?
No, I can't play. I used to I've had a couple bands and stuff like that, but just over the years, I got nerve damage. I used to play bass, so I can't feel these two fingers anymore. And,
Ow.
yeah.
Okay.
And
Up here in your back, in your neck, did you have it or what?
they thought it was from a back injury when I was younger, and it just got progressively worse. And they were like, "Oh, it's your back injury. It's your back injury. It's your back injury." About 5 or 6 years ago, I went to the doctor, and they finally just settled down. They did where they put electrodes in your arm, and they shoot electrodes to see where
I've
the
had
nerve.
that nerve conduction study. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
and
weird.
they found out that your funny bone right there, I've
Uh,
damaged it so
ooh.
bad that this side of my hand is almost permanently numb.
Oh my
And
God.
I waited too long. Now they can't fix it. So if I would have fixed it when everybody kept telling me it was from my back injury, I'd be fine. But they waited too long, kept going, oh, it's your back, it's your back, it's your back, it's your back. Now they're like, oh, no, it's this. And I'm like, what can you do? And they're like, no, not at this point. It's too far gone. I'm like,
Oh, that's too bad.
yeah, I still, I'll fiddle around with my bass a little bit here and there and try to remember. And I haven't sang in years, so literally it's one of them ones where I drive my youngest son nuts. We'll be at Kroger's and I'll be walking around and he hates it. I love doing this. Total Eclipse of the Heart will come on. I will start singing it. And it drives him nuts because he's the one with autism. He'll go, no, and he'll put his hand over my face and try to get me to stop. So I'm walking through Kroger's singing Total Eclipse of the Heart just out loud through the entire store. And my son's sitting, no, no, and he's holding his hand.
Oh
And I
God.
sing louder, and there's people just dying and laughing as I don't care. I'm
That's
too
all.
old to give a crap now.
That's what a dad should do.
That's
Just
right.
relentlessly embarrass their children.
Oh,
Yeah, in public.
I do it. I mean, I have 4 kids, and every time we do anything, I try to embarrass them in any way, shape, or form. So, but it's gotten a little harder because only one of them is still a kid. The other 3 are adults now, so it's a little harder to give my
Yeah.
adult children crap.
Yeah.
So, um, but did you? Because a lot of people grew up with a horror host. Did you have a horror host you grew up with?
Definitely. Well, the first horror host I was made aware of was Elvira.
Mm.
And it was, I believe, the first time I ever saw her was on a cardboard cutout in a convenience store. You know how she used to promote
Coors
for,
Light.
was it Budweiser or Coors? One of
Coors
the big
Light.
Budweiser or Coors. I can't remember. Okay.
Yep, I
Yeah.
remember that one.
So I just saw her image and I remember thinking, I want to be that. Like she was to me beautiful. Like
Oh yeah.
she had a beautiful figure and I loved the dress and I loved her makeup and her hair, everything. I'd never seen hair like that. So I wanted to know who that was, what was going on. I was too young at the time to really put it into words, I guess. And I didn't even ask my parents about her, I don't think. And it wasn't until a little bit later that I saw her on television. And because there was no internet, you couldn't look anything up
No.
back then. And I remember something about her being the queen of Halloween, and I was like, "What?" Because I loved Halloween.
Yeah.
But when I heard that kind of branding for her, that sealed the deal for me. So I've always loved Elvira, and then I became aware of Joe Bob Briggs for was his first one Monster Vision.
Well, he was last drive-in when he was on the movie channel. Then he went to Monster Vision on TNT.
TNT
Then
is where I first saw him.
yeah, yeah. That's where a lot of people. That's where I discovered him.
I
Yeah.
didn't see him on the other one. I saw him on Monster Vision,
Mhm.
and I thought he was just super funny. And I think Rhonda Shear, I missed her. Wasn't aware of her until later. And then of course, like if you want to consider Vincent Price a horror host, which I do, I think he's very horror hosty. He I used to watch all those old movies when I was a kid. And then also later in life, probably in my early 20s, I became aware of Vampira and did a deep dive on her, like who was this woman? What was this all about? I think it's so just such an innovative and cool thing that she did. She was the very first horror host.
Oh yeah.
And she based her whole look and everything off of Morticia Addams, the cartoon character, because there wasn't a TV show yet at the time. But she dressed up as Morticia basically for like a Halloween party or a costume ball, and that's how her thing got started. But the eyebrows and the tiny, tiny waist and all of that stuff was her,
Oh yeah.
And so Elvira was my very first love. Vampira became somebody who I was had an obsession about. And of course I love all of the spooky women in horror, the Munsters, Lily Munster and all of that stuff. But the all of those things kind of put their roots in me and served as an influence to how I operate as Scara.
Well, that's a lot of people that they'll take and like, yeah, this is me, but I took a little bit of here and I took a little
Yeah,
bit of here.
it's definitely, I mean, influence, you can't escape influence. And I think having influence and mixing it in with your own personality, like that's just how really cool things come about.
Oh yeah.
Elvira was supposed to take over for Vampira. So her character was kind of developed for that. And then she amplified like the kind of Valley Girl nature of it later, whenever the Vampira gig kind of got dropped for her. So I think it's really cool when you can see the influence in someone or hear it if it's music, but that particular artist then takes over with their own stuff. We're all influenced by something. I think
Oh
it's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah. It's one of the ones where people like, oh, my stuff's original. No, it ain't. Nobody's
Nothing under
original.
the sun. Yeah.
We're always a little bit of somebody else, no matter how
Yeah.
hard we try.
Yeah.
So, with doing Scare's Scream Theater, I always ask this of the people: have you ever done an episode, got it all done, and then like, so they're like, nope, you got to kill it. You use the wrong movie, even though it's supposed to be, public domain, or it's supposed to be, you're supposed to be able to use it, and all of a sudden they're like, nope. Mm-mm.
Well, so it's a live show. So I can't give away too much about that either. I do it out at Doc's Drive-In Theater. And the way we do it is I pick a movie and I don't advertise the name of it. So we don't say exactly what we're going to show. I work with an artist named Paul Russell. He goes by Dr. Abominable. And he and I work together to make posters and videos that give a lot of hints as to what the movie's going to be. And then we're able to show the movie without ever advertising what it is. We just show
Oh,
it, and then I think that's how we get around everything. And then later I'll talk about what I showed. But so therefore it's always been okay. Now there have been times where I've thought like I might, when I'm trying to decide which movie to show, where I have my heart set on something and then I'll go rewatch the movie and I'm like, I don't know if this is if this is okay in today's climate anymore. But I try to not let that stop me.
oh yeah.
My whole thing with that is I want to show movies that deserve to be seen on the big screen and movies that I wish I would have been able to see on the big screen, but I was not born or too young at the time. That's what I like to do. It's really a beautiful thing to see a horror movie on a drive-in screen under
Oh
the
yeah.
stars. We do have plans though to try to somehow do a simulcast or something like that where we can show it on YouTube, but that's where we will run into copyright
Hmm.
issues. So it's a whole
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, it's the one of the ones I got nailed for was I took the movie, I looked, found it on YouTube, so I'm like, okay, so there's okay, it's already there. So I use it on my show. The music in the movie is what
Yeah.
got nailed. And I'm like, but they're like mute it. I'm like, all right, mute it. I just muted the music throughout the entire thing. I'm like,
Yeah.
whatever.
YouTube's funny like that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I get it. I understand it, people's
Yeah.
intellectual
It's
property, but sometimes it's like, first of all, if the channel's not monetized, like
mhm.
who is it hurting? I don't think it's really hurting anybody
No.
if it's not monetized. And secondly, it's kind of helping and
Yeah.
promoting the movie and the artist and the music and all of that stuff. So it's a weird situation.
Oh yeah, because I have I've aired stuff when I first started doing mine. There was cartoons that they were like, mm, nope. And then other ones, all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, you can use them. I'm like, oh, they're because they can make money off of you doing your show. And I'm like, okay, I'm demonetized. I don't care. I do whatever I want for the most part. And occasionally the NBC, ironically enough, is one of the big ones that says no.
Oh yeah, you can't like if you try to share a Saturday Night Live thing, NBC will shut you down
Hmm.
immediately. On Facebook, I do a lot of reels and
Hmm.
I'll use, music in them and it'll just pop up and say the artist of the music gets any money that you get too. Like they get a cut of
Yeah.
whatever. Like, yeah, that's okay. I don't
Yeah, heck
care.
yeah.
They can
Yep.
have my 25 cents or whatever.
Exactly. Well, and on top of that is some of the music I use. Like if I put reels together, I put little ones like to talk about like comic books that are coming out and stuff like that. And I'm like, I listen to bands that most people don't even know of. So the fact that these people are getting some sort of people listening to them, you're like, run with it, man. You're getting
Yeah,
some,
I think it's cool. I think that's cool.
yeah. But so I got to figure out. You now you run this at your local drive-in. Um, so did the drive-in get a hold of you to get you to do this, or how did this all come to fruition?
This is a funny story. It's a weird story. I'm glad you asked this question. Okay. So in the movie that I wrote about my character, I used to have a show called in real life, let me start back. In real life on YouTube, I had a show called Tub of Terror
Hmm.
and I reviewed horror movies, which I'm not a big fan of. I'm a fan for other people doing it, but personally, I don't like reviewing horror movies unless I really love them and I have just amazing things to say about them because I don't like tearing down other
Yeah.
people's art. And who am I? You know what I mean?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
especially at the time, I never made a movie, I never wrote a movie, I never directed a movie, produced a movie. So, what does my opinion matter? Anyway, I did the show because it was something to do with content and people kind of liked it. And I was in my bathtub, there's bubbles covering me, but
Yeah.
uh, it was a whole shtick and it was fun. And so when it came time to do the movie, I was writing about my character and I was like, do I want to have her host Tub of Terror or do I want it to be something more organic and bigger than that? And I just in my head was kind of envisioning what the filming process would be. And down the road from the haunt that I work at, the haunted attraction, there's this drive-in. And we've met them before, the owners. So I wrote in the movie like, okay, I'm a host at a drive-in and I host a drive-in, horror movie night. And I made this whole thing. And then we asked them if we could shoot there. And they were like, yeah, of course, great. And not only did they let us shoot there for our drive-in scenes, but there's a scene where a bunch of people get killed, of course, because that's horror movie.
Oh yeah.
And they have an on-site bar that's underground, and it's this beautiful bar. It's like a speakeasy style,
Oh
uh,
neat.
beautifully decorated, and they let us shoot in there too. So I wrote the movie, having me host these horror movies at a drive-in, and then we filmed the movie, and it's out now, in film festivals. And I was talking to the director of the movie, who's my partner in all of these things, and again, Corey Trahan, and I was like, you know what? I should ask. I should do this in real life. I should ask the owners of the drive-in if I can do that. If Horror Web can work with them and do this horror movie night. And so we met with them, and I presented my idea, and they were like just down immediately, like, yeah, come on board. So I've been doing that now for over a year with them. And one of the funny things about all of that is this movie, Damsel of the Doomed, is kind of about my character manifesting things by writing about them.
Oh
And
cool.
so it's weird how the movie, like certain things from the movie are coming true, and you can say I manifested it by writing the movie, which it's a mind F if you ask me. I don't know if I can cuss, but
Oh, you can. Yeah. We're so. Now you've got the movie. Are you going to show the movie at the drive-in to where you filmed the movie at?
we did already. So we did a
Cool.
private screening out there. Our first private screening was at what is it? AFS Theater, Austin Film Society, Richard Linklater's movie theater here in Austin. So we had our private screening premiere there. and it was invitation only. And then the same thing with at the drive-in, we did one that was for press,
Hmm.
uh, private screening for press and all of that, and we had it out there. So that was pretty surreal to watch the movie out there with scenes that were shot out there. It was cool.
So I know how surreal this is, so I have to ask you, how was it the first time you got to see yourself on that ginormous screen?
It's the very first time I saw myself was for a different movie called Witch's Bargain that Corey Trahan wrote. And so going back to that, the first time I saw myself on the big screen was at Alamo Drafthouse Theater. Do y'all have Alamos?
No, we don't have them. I know what, yeah.
It's a great movie theater chain. Anyway, so I remember that was I took pictures with my phone of the screen. It was definitely a mind bender. It was really weird. I've been going to the Alamo for a million years. And so it was a double whammy to see not whammy, a double like awesomeness to see myself on the big screen at the Alamo. And then for myself in a movie that I wrote was just wild, just wild. And it made me feel really grateful, to be honest. Everybody that worked on the movie, I have a lot of friends that were involved in the movie, acting on it, but also in behind the camera and in pre-production and post-production. And they're all amazing people. And so I still haven't wrapped my mind around the fact that all of these people came together and we did this thing. And it's a feeling I can't really put into words, except for to say I'm tremendously grateful. Having said that, it's hard to watch yourself on screen. I can only I'll watch for a little bit and then I'm like, but the movie has such good timing and pacing. The movie itself is great. But you yourself watching yourself, it's you have to prepare mentally, you
Oh
know.
yeah.
You know what I'm talking you're on your on YouTube and you've been on TV and I don't
Yeah.
know if you've been on the big screen, but it is, you know what I mean.
Oh yeah. I remember the first time I did a movie. Friend of mine, he used to do a double feature at a theater about a half hour away. And one night he's like, "Man," he goes, "You got to be anywhere after we're done." I'm like, "No." So he goes, so I'm sitting there, I'm helping him clean up and stuff because that was part of the deal, you know, because he would show in the theater. So I'm helping him clean up, and he's all right, we're done. He goes, go find a seat, sit in the theater. I'm like, okay. So I go and I sit in the theater, and I'm just waiting, and it's all raw, you know, kind of raw footage. It's not finished, and there's my scene and I'm watching it on the big screen, and for like 30 seconds, the only thing you see is like this much of my face. And I'm like, this is something I never thought would happen in a million years. I'm in a theater seeing myself on the big screen on an unfinished movie. And I'm like, wow, this is awesome. I know why people do this now.
It's cool. It's definitely cool. And it's when you think about it, it's a very small percentage of the population that gets to have that
Mhm.
experience.
Yeah.
It's really cool. It's
I mean,
just
yeah, it's something that's, you know, I have friends that are actors and actresses and you know, a lot of them are like, it's just, yeah, it's a Tuesday, you know, and I'm like,
yeah,
oh man, I can't because I'm a movie kid. I grew up, I love comic books and movies, and you know, and they're two of my favorite things. And being in a movie, even you know, the movies I've done, I've only have one part where I've been like a you know featured person, and then everything else I've just been you know background, you know, whatever. And I just do it to have fun because I don't, you know, do I think I can act? I don't know. Maybe I've never really like tried. Even though everybody tells me I do a good job when I do,
yeah.
I'm
But
still
you're not
like,
out there like auditioning and all of that.
no,
Yeah.
because I don't. I I'm 50. I'm getting too old. I'm not gonna play. I played the dad or like the guy because I used to joke around. I was talking to some people about being a reoccurring character in a movie, and I was gonna be that guy at the beginning of the movie that told the kids they're all gonna die out there. That was
Yeah.
just gonna be me at the beginning of each
Don't
of the
go
movies.
down there. The ground is sour.
Oh,
That
listen,
from the Pet Cemetery. I remember that
yeah,
line
I was gonna
from
be the guy, gas station attendant. Where are you guys going? We're going to the old Johnson house. Oh, you
yeah.
kids are
That's
gonna
pretty
die out there. Put the gas in their car.
yeah.
Yeah.
You don't look like those that age. Not 50 doesn't look old to me these days. Um but back in the day, 50, I guess it looked old.
Oh,
Anyway, I
well,
think, and there's a lot of actors that didn't like get big until their late 40s, even in their 50s. Like Samuel L. Jackson he was up there before he got
yeah, before he got
recognition.
big, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's we joke around because I have had a friend try to con me into becoming a wrestler, and he's like, "Well, this guy didn't start till he was in his 30s." I'm like,
That I
"No,
would maybe say no.
no." I was like, "The last thing I need to do is get my break an ankle or get a concussion and have to go to work the next day."
Yeah.
No.
Your looks, you may not look your age, but your body can tell a
Oh,
difference.
my body knows it's 50.
The recovery process for sure takes longer.
It's so
What are
funny.
you, a DC guy or a Marvel guy?
Yes, I'm just a
Oh,
comic book
okay, all
fan.
right. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I collect probably I'm gonna say more Marvel than DC just because there's just more Marvel characters I like. But literally some of my favorite characters are DC. I love Green Lantern, I love Firestorm, Swamp Thing, John Constantine, stuff like that. Um,
Cool.
but then I grew up, I'm an X-Men guy. I
Yeah.
love my X-Men. I
Great
love
with
my
X-Men, right?
yeah. And I mean literally there's an X-Men arcade cabinet back there. They see all the boxes everywhere. So
Yeah. That's what I thought. I could see some X-Men stuff going on back there, but it
yeah,
wasn't
that is an
that one.
X-Men
Yeah.
blue comic book box from about I don't know like 5 years ago. So
Cool.
and then there's a Fantastic Four, Daredevil. Right next to me is a Spider-Man. There's a Wolverine. There's a lot of them down here because
Do your kids also like comics?
uh, my son Joe does. Joe's the one he's like he'll collect a little bit of comics, but he goes, if I want to read anything, I just go in the basement and get whatever I want to read. And he goes, and it's mine anyways. If anything happens to you, and I'm like, yeah, it is yours.
So he collects through you.
Yeah. So it's there's a little comic and it has this guy opening up a garage and the garage is full and he goes, one day, son, this will all be yours. And I go, that's what I tell my kids.
Yeah. There's your inheritance.
Yeah. I was like, you'll get a ton of books, a bunch of records, some movie posters, some. Now my kids that want video games, my son that loves video games, he gets all the video games probably. So, but yeah. And then my wife's like, so do I get to sell all this stuff and just pay off the house? I'm like, I guess if you want.
Can't take it with you. You might as
Uh, I, although I tell them I want to. I was like, what you do is you take all my books and you stack them up, and then you put me on top and you light them up because I'm taking it all with me.
higher.
I'm going
Yeah.
out like a Viking. I'm going out
Yeah.
with fire.
Somebody needs to shoot a flaming arrow,
Yep.
land
And
on you.
I love my wife because my wife goes, if that was legal, I would totally do that for you. And I was like, oh, I know you would.
That's a great wife.
Oh yeah, I love my wife to death. She keeps me sane. So, um, but comic book fan then. So what do you read, or are you currently reading anything?
I don't anymore. At the time though, when I started reading X-Men when I was in junior high. My best friend um was a guy and he was very into X-Men. So it started out like I would hang out at his house with him and he would just give me an education of Professor X and all of the backstory and each character and who was this and who was that and Jean Grey and Phoenix and da da da. And I really liked Storm at the time. And we would play, there was an X-Men video game at Walmart. Like Walmarts back then, at least my Walmart, they had like a little arcade.
Oh, arcade, yeah.
And so we would go play X-Men there, and then we'd also play Mortal Kombat and Area 51. And so we were into arcade video games, and he would just read to me X-Men and give me the oral history. And then we'd go to his house and we'd go into his storage area with all of his boxes and boxes of comic books. And he'd pick out a few for me to read, and we'd just chill out and read comic books together. And he would take me to the comic shop and stuff like that. And he's a great dude. He's I don't know if this, I'm only saying this because it doesn't matter, but it's interesting to me. I grew up in Lubbock, Texas,
Okay.
West Texas, and my friend's gay,
Mhm.
a gay dude. And so when we were 13 and stuff, he wasn't out. It
Yeah.
was back then, especially in that town. And so he would take me to the comic book store, and they all would, kind of assume I was his girlfriend. And they would love to say that, oh, you brought your girlfriend today, Clint. And neither he or I would correct them.
Correct them. Yeah.
We just let it be that, and I'm so glad he was able to, as he got older, he finally was like, I'm gonna be who I am, but he's still a really cool, very dear to me person. I'm still friends with him. I love him.
That's good. That's a great story. I kind of can relate to that. That's how I met my wife. My first comic book store I was part owner of. My wife and her best friend came into the store because he needed to pick up a book for his girlfriend, and my wife his best friend was driving him, and she's like, "I'm just gonna wait in the car." And she goes, "No, because you're gonna be out there forever. You always complain. So just come inside." And she walked in, and 32 years later, we are still together.
That's
Oh,
so cool.
I
Y'all
love
get
that.
married in a comic book store? That would have been awesome.
No, no, she would definitely not do. Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. We literally, I joke around, and this is not a joke at all, but I do joke around about it. We got married because of an argument. She said that we would never get married because we kept postponing our wedding, and kept postponing our wedding, and oh, we're never gonna have enough money, blah 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 blah. And finally, one day, she's like, "I'm never gonna get married. I know that now." I'm like, "Fine, we'll get married Friday." And she goes, "Well, I can't get married Friday." I'm like, "How about next Friday?" And that next Friday, we got married, and that was 26 years ago. So,
Wow. Well,
and
good. It worked.
oh yeah, I trapped that woman. No.
You got her now.
Oh my God, she has been with me. Um, she is still in high school. I had just graduated, um, and she's been there through all the dumb crap and everything else like that. And she's been with me. She's been helping me with my shows. I remember taking her to her first comic book convention. Back when the day when there was only like a tiny amount of women that went and it was mostly guys, and she just looked at me and goes, "What the hell did you bring me to?" And now she'll go because she goes to the horror conventions with me, and she goes
Yeah.
and does this, and she loves it. And I was a guest at a horror convention in Virginia, and I'm going to be back there again this year. And she's just loving it. She's just walking around, meeting everybody because she's there with us. So, and she loves it, and she's embracing it, and she's like, "I want to do the show some more." So I'm like, "All right." So we're going to work on bringing her character back and doing more of the horror related stuff, and I think we're going to do some heavy metal stuff coming up. So we're working on some other projects with her, and yeah.
That's so cool.
Oh yeah, yeah. She's I can honestly say, and people don't believe me, but I can 100% say, 100% certainty that if it wasn't for her, I would not be here today.
Oh,
Because I was not in a good place for a long time, and she's the one that kept telling me that I could be a better person, and it made me a better person. So, and here I am. But so you grew up in Texas. I have family in Texas, but they're in the Dallas Fort Worth Hurst area. So I know that's quite a ways away. But we keep planning on going down because we all want to go to Austin because we want to see the cool theaters and stuff down there. And because I wanted to go down, was it 2 years ago, because they had the Clones of Bruce Lee festival at the Alamo Draft House. So, and I love kung fu movies. I'm like, oh, I want to go see this, and I'm like trying to schedule it, and then of course it falls through and
oh.
make it to Texas. So, but
Dallas Fort Worth's not too far from Austin. I go to Frightmare every year. It's like a 3 hour drive, I guess.
yeah, it's
Get
it's
there. It's not terrible.
yeah.
Texas is so huge though. We have a different time traveling
Oh
time
yeah.
is different for us because we can go, I mean, you can drive for 16 hours and still be in Texas,
Hmm.
it's wild. So
Oh
like I
yeah.
go to Lubbock to visit my mom and it's a 6 hour drive and it's not really that big of a deal, and I know other people will be completely through their state in six
Oh yeah.
hours.
If I drove 6 hours in any direction, if I drove 6 hours north, I'd be in Canada. If I drove 6 hours, I would be in. Well, it's only 5 hours to Chicago, so I'd be past Chicago.
Right.
I would be nearly through Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's huge. People don't realize just how massive Texas is.
Texas is big.
Yeah.
I'm lucky to be in Austin now though, because like my band, we will play, of course, in Austin, but we'll drive 2 hours and we'll be in San Antonio. We'll drive 2 hours to be in Houston, 3 hours we're in Dallas. So the big cities of Texas are all within reasonable driving distance for us. So it's a good spot.
See, that was my next question because I've talked to some Texas bands and they don't ever have to leave Texas
You don't
to
have to,
tour
yeah. Yeah.
because it's so big and there's so many big cities and there's always people looking to book bands that 3 hours in any direction from where they were, they don't have to go tour outside Texas.
Yeah, we definitely have venues and cities within reasonable distance. So it really comes down to us as a band and how much we want to do that. We've played New Orleans. We love playing in New Orleans, and we would play other cities too. It just kind of has to work out with the timing. And as you can tell, timing is a
Yeah.
time is a big commodity.
Oh, 100%. Yes.
My in the band, the guitar player, he's the director of the movies that I'm in, and he owns the Halloween theme park. And you should probably interview him actually after
Heck
this.
yeah.
I'll give
Yeah.
his
Give me
info.
his
But
info and we'll yeah, definitely
he's
get
a
him on.
big comic book fan too. You guys will get along.
Nice.
But he's as busy, if not busier, probably busier, definitely busier than I am, and I'm busy, so
Oh yeah.
it makes sense for us as a whole thing.
Oh yeah. This is why I got to sneak stuff in on Sunday. It's my day off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
I I'm a the hosting. I do the podcast. I own my own business. I my family, and when it's all said and done, everybody's like, "How do you find the time?" I was like, "I go to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I wake up at 9, and I start my day all over again every
Yeah.
day, like clockwork. And it doesn't matter if it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Still, about 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm still working on stuff like this episode right here. I will probably do some more editing on my other shows. I'll work on that tonight, which I don't think I have to trim too much. If I have to trim anything out of this one, I'll get it all ready, do the intros and the outros, and then I'll have it ready for tomorrow morning. Or at,
Yeah. They're
and
just always staying busy and productive.
yep, 100%. Go 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 go. So
Yeah.
your band, do you get to take your band with you to do conventions and play at cons?
We played last year at Houston Horror Film Festival. Our film The Black Quarry was showing, and I attend that festival as a fan as well. And but we're there for our band for our film. And this other band named The Daughters of Evil, they were having their film being shown too.
Oh, cool.
And they have a film called The Daughters of Evil, and the band's called The Daughters of Evil. And they reached out to us, and they had a show booked at a venue in Houston. So it wasn't related to the film festival, but people from the film festival knew about it and were going to see
Okay.
it play. So we got to do that. And we did something similar for Frightmare. We didn't play Frightmare, but we played a venue in the area at the time. The same year, yeah, last year we did that as well. And then Houston Horror Film Festival has reached out to us to play one of their events, but it was during October, and October for us is a no-go because
No.
every weekend we're at Bat City Scareground. So I'd like to do some more. I would love to play some more conventions. We were supposed to play Cult Classic Convention one year and it rained us out, so we couldn't. So it's one of those things where sort of, but not exactly how I would like to. I would like to officially be playing these conventions. I think we will one day.
Heck yeah. Hell, the con I'm going in, I don't know if you guys would be willing to go to Virginia, but I can see what I can do there.
Maybe. I mean, I'll go anywhere. Do they have a film festival associated with it? I
I
wonder.
believe so.
What's
Um,
it
it's
called?
it's Haunted Screams Expo.
All right, I'll
Uh,
put it on my list of
yeah,
things.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll reach out to the promoter and because they're going if they already have enough bands booked, 'cause they book bands there every
Cool.
year too. So And
Yeah, we have a new music video that just dropped. Speaking of my band, it's called Spooky Shit, and it's on, all the platforms, but you can find it on YouTube if you just put in The Immortalz, and that's got a Z on the end. Spooky Shit. And Boudreaux Partita of Penny Rock Productions directed it and produced it in association with Horror Web. And we filmed a lot of it at Bat City Scaregrounds, particularly in this area called the Corpse Hallway, that was produced, designed, and made by an artist named Kayla Stojek. And Kayla is the designer for Zombie Peep Show, which is this amazing horror couture sort of wearable art line of shoes and jackets and hats. And she also produces scenes at Bat City Scaregrounds and runs one of the haunts out there, one of the haunted attractions called Slaughter Mall. But she made this Corpse Hallway years ago. And since she made it, it has been like burning in my brain that I need to shoot something in there. And we've shot several music videos, and finally this one came up. And I told the director, I was like, we gotta this, because he was asking like, where at the park can we shoot? And I was like, this hallway, we have to. So when you see the video, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's just skeletons all around, like from the ground to the ceiling, skeletons and spider webs, and it's like a dream come true. You gotta see that one.
nice.
But if you talk to anyone about us playing, definitely send them that video. It's really awesome.
So what I'll ask you now is, can we put that at the end of the episode?
Yes, I'd
Tack it
love
in?
that.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, I'll tack that in at the end, put it in
cool.
there with the credits. And
Sweet. That would be
yes,
great.
because that's one thing I love about doing this. I did another show with another friend of mine, and he's way too busy. He's and now I get too busy, so I had to like go back to just doing my show, but embracing both shows into the one show now. But we did a metal show where we just talked to bands from all over the world, and
Oh,
which is
wow.
weird to me, talking to people from Spain and Norway and
Okay. Yeah.
Mexico and Canada and all over the United
Metal's
States.
universal. Yeah, that's so cool.
Because yeah, and it is. It's people like, oh, rock and metal's dead, and I'm like, no, it's not, dude. You gotta. Maybe in America it's not one of the number one, but in most other countries it is one of the top genres of music, most everywhere else.
Huge festivals dedicated
Yeah,
to metal. Like it's big, and it should
yeah.
be. It's awesome. I love it.
Oh yeah. I mean, literally. What's today? Today is the 8th. Uh, Whatever today is. Seventh,
Six,
seventh, sixth.
six.
Yeah,
Yeah.
6. Yeah, and so I'm going to go see a all South Korean girl metal band, Rolling Quartz, in a few weeks.
What's it called?
Rolling Quartz.
Oh, that's awesome. I
Yeah,
saw. I want to say they're Japanese, and I cannot remember their name. Baby something.
baby metal.
Baby
Yeah.
metal.
There's another one called Hanabe,
Uh-huh.
and it's so weird because it's really kind of like poppy, like sounds like etro video game music or anime music, and all of a sudden the girl's like, I got it, and then they're like, "Whoa," and you're like,
Yeah, that's so fun. I love it.
and then I found one, and my kids are like, you didn't know about this one? I'm like, there's one called Maximum the Hormone,
Ah,
and it is it's such a weird mix of music, and they do a song called F, and it's about Frieza from Dragon Ball Z, and and my kid's like, you didn't know about this? I'm like, no, why didn't you tell me? This is awesome. And I joke around because I have friends who are way younger than me, and they're like, their taste in music is set. They love, you know, their music tastes have not changed much at all. And then there's me, I'm like, 50, and I'm like, man, I'm finding new bands almost every day. And I'm doing the opposite of what I should be doing at this age.
yeah, a lot of people kind of get comfortable in whatever the music of their youth was and
Oh,
stay
oh,
there, which is fine, but
don't
it's
get me wrong.
also fun to discover new stuff.
Oh yeah. Don't get me wrong. I still love my, heavy metal, my thrash and my hair metal and stuff like that. But now I'm like, man, have you found these Japanese bands? Have you checked this synthwave band out? Have you done this?
Yeah.
And then I go back, of course, like like you do horror punk and stuff like that. So I still listen to the Misfits and the Ramones and stuff like that. And yeah, I am a as you can see, like I said, music up there, and I'm a vinyl guy because I got to be pretentious and be like, oh, it's about vinyl. It's got to be a better, warmer sound.
No, I like vinyl. I like because I like the whole ritual of it, taking it
Oh,
out of the sleeve and putting it on the record player and making sure there's no fuzzies on it and read
mm-hmm.
the liner notes. I like all of, just sitting down and like making listening to music kind of an event. I mean, of course I have, streaming services as
Yeah.
well for the car and all of that, but at the house I do like listening to vinyl.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's that as I tell people, it's that comforting pop hiss when you drop the needle and
Yeah.
you're like,
Yeah.
and then the song kicks in. You're like, yeah. It's the same way with like a movie projector for me. When you hear that,
Yeah.
brrr, it's
Yeah. Or it's
comforting.
like if it's the winter and it's the difference, starting a fire in the fireplace and having all of that
Mhm.
versus your heater, both of
Yep.
them. The heater might, warm the house more efficiently and evenly, but the fire is definitely cozier
Yeah.
and it really is for all of your senses.
Oh yeah. You get the smell, you get the crackling. It's the sound, the smell. When your heater kicks on, all you do is get that weird smell of when the
Yeah,
heater
the
kicks on.
initial
Yeah.
kind of, yeah.
Nothing in this world smells like quite like a heater kicking on. Uh,
Right.
especially well, I say that, but I have dogs, so all it smells is like a little bit of burnt dog hair every time it
I
kicks
have my two dogs sleeping right next to me right now.
on. Oh, well, what kind of dogs you have?
Dachshunds.
Dachshunds.
Their names are Herman and Gomez.
I have
They're
I have I have my well, I have two dogs are upstairs because they will not leave me alone if I record. My little fat corgi is right here, and
oh,
she's all chilled out on the floor sleeping. And then I have my little wired corgi who's like, "Arr," he's upstairs with the bigger mutt. And then I'm surprised you don't see it because there's usually two cats walking around here somewhere. But
oh,
yeah, those are the cats we named because we were watching Lucifer on TV. So it's Lucy Purr and Mazikeen. So
oh, that's cute. Lucy Purr.
Lucy
Love
Purr. And then we got my fat corgi Lulu, who was named Lucy when we got her because she was a retired breeding dog, and we
Oh,
took her in. And now she's Lulu because we didn't want two Lucys. And then the doofy my goofy other corgi, he came to our house named Courage, and my mom's like, "Well, you should change his name." I'm like, "No," because he's Courage the Third, or as I like to call him, Courage the Turd, because he's a
yeah.
little turd dog. Because I've had three dogs named Courage. I had Courage, Courage Junior, and now we have Courage the Third. So
We just call him the turd for short.
the Turd, yeah. Like, what are you doing, turd dog?
Yeah.
I and he another rescue. He was a abused dog, so I got to deal with him on a. He's lovey, he's adorable, but he gets like he's got this little weird whine where he just looks at you and you're just like, oh, what do you want to do now? Come on, or he'll just freeze. So you like got to push his butt to get him to do it.
Poor baby.
He's my little puppy, but he's wired for sound most times. So, but dachshunds are fun though. I my friend had a little dachshund. Geez, he was that little dark, almost black with a little brown spot,
Mhm.
and I remember him. They're like, oh, he's not real friendly. He doesn't know people, and he just runs up to me. He's like, I'm like, okay,
Uh,
whatever.
I can tell you're a dog person, I
Oh
guess.
yeah, I'm an animal person. Period. My wife calls me Snow White because animals are just love me for some
Yeah.
weird reason.
Yeah.
Um, there's a picture of me in my old one of my old houses, and I'm literally out in the backyard hand feeding a deer. So,
Oh,
and she's like, only I don't know, whatever. She's like, animals love me. I can't help it. People not so much. Animals love me.
children probably like you too if animals like you.
Yeah. My wife tells me, she goes, you need to chill out. She goes, you gotta stop being so self-deprecating. I'm like, whatever. I'm good. I'm good. I have fun doing this. So, um, but I gotta ask, upcoming events that you have going on?
Yes, let me think. So this coming weekend is the murder mystery at Mama Merlot's. I think it's called Murder at the Movie Theater. And then we have, let me look here. We have some Immortalz gigs coming up. But while I look that up, I'll say that the Scary Scream Theater happens on the first Thursday of every month. So that'll be May 1st is our next one for that. Okay. We have, I think, we have a gig in June. One, I don't know where that's at. Oh, the Crowbar in June. And then we have one in August for Blood and Brushes at Kick Butt, which is a special effects makeup competition that we're
Neat.
playing at. And then it says September at Hanover's Draft House in Pflugerville. And I thought I thought we had something before all of that, but I can't, it's not popping up. So all of that for the Immortalz. And then I will personally be tabling with Horror Web at Texas Frightmare Weekend in May. And then I'll be at Houston Horror tabling there as well. I will be at Big Texas Terror in San Antonio, Texas this summer. And I think those are the three. I was at Cult Classic, but I think those are the three big ones we're doing as far as horror conventions. And then I'll be at whatever film festival selects us that I'm able to get to. I'll be going to those. I think in April there's one in San Antonio called Fiesta Film Festival, Film and Music Festival. So we'll be showing Damsel of the Doomed there, and I'll be appearing as Scara at that. I think those are all of the things that are currently on the books off the top of my head. I feel like I'm missing something, but we'll go with that for now.
Yeah. And where can people find you online? And
for Scara, it's Scara_ Damsel of the Doomed on most things. On Instagram, on TikTok, I think it's like that. Facebook, I'm on all of those. The Immortalz has their own website. I think it's just theimmortalz.com. You can check us out there. I have a website for Scara, but it's not like super active yet. So really social media is where you can find most of my stuff. Sarah Webb on Facebook is my regular person Facebook. And on Spotify and all Apple Music, all of the iTunes, all of the streaming services, you can find the Immortalz. Again, that's the Immortalz with a Z. And then you can find our movie, The Black Quarry, on a lot of the streaming platforms, Amazon, for example, and we're on a bunch of them. I should have had the list with me, but that's for the movie The Black Quarry. I horror host that one, so I have an intro in the beginning. My character does, and that's out now. And then just check and keep checking Horror Web on Instagram and Facebook for information and news about our new movie, The Damsel of the Doomed. And the next movie I may or may not be working on is called I keep blanking on this name. Shoot. I can't remember. Well, it's probably for the best that I don't mention it because I'm not sure if I'm attached yet. But there is something in the works for me to possibly AD on and help out with. We'll see how that goes. I'm excited for it. Either way, it's going to be a good project.
And last question. Any advice for people getting into horror hosting or music?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So for horror hosting, really for anything you want to do creatively, just start doing it. And what I mean by that is you have with your phone the capability to do whatever you want these days. There's really not much of an excuse. You can, if you have an iPhone, you've got the world at your fingertips. Start recording yourself, start coming up with a character. It kind of depends. If you want a character that is fully submerged and way different than you, there's books you can read and videos you can watch and people you can ask for advice on developing a character. If it's more like an amplified version of yourself, then just start doing that. Come up with a look and just start getting used to being in front of the camera and in front of people. Don't do maybe what I did, which is take at least a year to say yes to almost everything that comes your way. There's going to be a few stinkers that pop up that you just got to push through, but I'll tell you what, you'll learn from them regardless. Do those things and get through them and apply what you learn to the very next thing. And just know that like you're going to fail at some of the stuff you try, and that's fine because everybody learns by
Mm-hmm.
failing. You don't learn as much from succeeding, I don't think. Like you
No.
have to make mistakes and fail because it really shows you what works better than anything is knowing what doesn't work.
Yep.
It's an interesting process, but just being okay with that, not worrying about being cringe or fucking whatever. Like I hate that. Like people that are scared about how they're being perceived, they're not going to get anywhere
No.
because really you're your own worst enemy when it comes to how you're perceived. You don't really know how other people see you, and there are people on the internet that are going to be mean and write mean stuff about projects you're in or even you, and that's okay because again I'm like, well, what are they doing? Who cares really? If
No.
it's something you love doing, just start doing it.
Oh
Music
yeah.
is the same way. Find people that have the same shared interest in you and just start getting together and practicing and going for it. When we play a show, I try to give the audience a show every time. I want it to be I want it to where they can't look away, so visually and what they're hearing, I need it to be powerful. That's what I strive for. Do
Yeah.
whatever you got to do to get to that.
Oh yeah. And I tell people you gotta kind of have a thick skin, because people will talk crap about you, but like you said, what are they doing?
Yeah, who
And
are they?
yeah,
Because
exactly.
the best people, the people that are really great at what they do, they don't do that. They don't talk shit about people like that. Sir, they just don't. It's always people who aren't doing anything that have
Mm-hmm.
oh shit to say. Oh, I remember the movie,
Yeah.
The Black Quarry. No, I already said that.
Yeah, you said the Black Quarry.
Demon Code. Sorry.
Demon Code?
Demon Code is the next movie that I may or may not be involved in, but a lot of my friends are definitely involved in it. And so keep your eye, you can go, I think you can go online and just search Demon Code, and there's ways to become involved as an investor if you want, or I think there's an Indiegogo you can get involved with, and that one's going to be really cool. You should check that one out. That's going to be the next cool movie, I think.
Demon Code.
Demon
Okay,
Code.
cool. Cool. Well, I don't want to keep you too long here because I know how you are. You're busy. But we'll bring you back again. Maybe Scara will show up next time. We got you.
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, drop me
I'll ask her. I'll give her a call.
yeah, and yeah, drop me the information of your director and stuff like that. We'll get him on the show too. So
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I think you'll get along with him for sure. You have similar interests.
yeah, it's I love. I could talk comic books forever. It's just comic books and movies. I can talk for eternity, and sometimes I do. And my wife's like, "Come on, let's go. We're done. Let's go. Come on." Uh, but it has been a blast. I can't wait to have you back on again. And take care and have fun doing all your just ass ton of projects you're working on.
Same to you. Same to you.
Yeah.
All of them.
Oh yeah. Well, you take care and you have yourself a good night, and we'll talk again soon.
Cool. All right. Thank you for having me on.
You're welcome. Bye. I'm gonna
for fright. Summon demons, I just might. Haunted houses on Halloween. Tarot cards reveal the unseen. Dracula and Frankenstein. Long road trips without Dramamine. Oh yeah, some spooky shit. Black cats, serpents and spiders. A little Reagan with a devil inside her. Chased by zombies, who's a fighter? Hey, watch out, I see one right there. I love spooky shit. A fucking night, not just a little bit. Like Angelina used to love Brad Pitt. I love spooky shit. I love spooky shit. A fucking lot and now I just can't quit. Like Michael Myers would love you to babysit. I love spooky shit. Murder of crows, such a sight. Soft glow of the jack-o'-lantern light. Elegant neck right for a bite. Bats are black and ghosts are white. Look beyond the veil between. Such sights remain unseen. Asmodeus, how have you been? Who is your favorite scream queen? Yeah, it better be me, bitch. Give it to me, spooky. Black cats, serpents and spiders. A little Reagan with a devil inside her. Chased by zombies, who's a fighter? Hey, watch out, I see one right there. I love spooky shit. A fucking night, not just a little bit. Like Angelina used to love Brad Pitt. I love spooky shit. I love spooky shit. A fucking night and now I just can't quit. That's why this song's gonna be a mega hit. I love spooky shit. Spooky, 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 spooky shit. Spooky, 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 spooky shit. And while we're at it, we really need to bring back real old school trick-or-treating, man. Trunk-or-treating should be fucking illegal. Go door to door, bitch.